You made it. Welcome to the morning show, Stock Market TV. Spencer, JC, Steve, Alfonso with you. Fridays are always a busy day for us. We have Louis Sykes from ASC Crypto joining us to talk about crypto. So that'll be fun because we love Crypto Fridays. We have the doctor in the house today, Phil Pearlman, coming on, dropping some pearls of wisdom. That's always a treat. Always a treat to talk to Phil. And then we'll have Alfonso, the chart master, the chart wizard, the chart sensei, coming on, I don't know, 9:30, 9:40, give or take, end of the show. It's going to be fun. So that's the plan. Good morning, chat. Am I seeing us live on YouTube? Let me just make sure we're live. There we go. Okay. Yeah, we are live. We're rolling. We out here. We're here. You're here. The guys are here. Let's go.
All right, Mr. Strazza, happy Friday, Crypto Friday.
Hey guys.
Another day at the beach over here for JC. No big deal. No big deal. Little market action. Put on a couple of trades. Go for a walk on the beach. Very Pearlman-like.
I can tell you're getting some vitamin D. You know.
Yeah, I got a nice little tan going.
Good tan, good energy. You know?
I got a lot of sun coming from over here, so it looks like I'm a little pale, but this tan is looking nice. Let me tell you, looking nice. You know, the Italian stallion over here, Mr. Steve Strazza, has been leading the league in suntans over the last several months, while us Northeasterners are, you know, stuck inside, not getting much color. But I'm catching up. I'm Cuban, you know, so I got that, you know.
Well, now you guys got the nice weather up there, and no suntans for me lately. It's been pouring here all week. I'm sure you heard what's going on in South Florida with the flooding.
Nah, I don't really keep up with what's happening. And
your parents just live there, right? You don't pay attention.
You'll see when you have as many kids as I do, my friend. You'll see. You'll see. Right. You won't be concerned with weather patterns in places that you're not in. You'll notice that you don't have time for that shit.
No doubt. All right.
We had a nice little event last night, talking the hot corner. We'll talk a little bit more about that today. You know, a lot of chatter out there on the interwebs about the the crooked senators and whatnot, you know, transacting in the open markets. But it's not just the senators in the House of Representatives, but it's those hedge funds as well. And of course, the corporate insiders, when they're stepping in, they're buying a lot of stock. I want to know. So I think we do as good a job as anyone. We didn't really want to build this. We just didn't have a choice because it didn't exist. So Spencer, make sure you drop in the link there. Boom. See how we follow the smart money. We make it simple. Is really what we do. I mean, it's simple now. It wasn't always that way.
I mean, look, we have a good time doing it. We're passionate about this data, and I think we've been doing it for so many years now. We added some tweaks and new features that I think are really cool.
Love it. Why don't we, you guys want to talk about a little state of the markets, a little state of the market action?
Please.
Please. All right. All right. So this morning, today is Friday. I want to talk about market breadth in a minute, but today is Friday, June the 14th. We've got the Dow futures down about 250 points. Do I have that right, Strazza?
250 points. Yeah.
Just restarted my situation here, so I'm just getting the data. I've got the Dow futures down 250 points. That's about 2/3%. S&P futures down about 1/3%, 5,400 and change for S&Ps. NASDAQ futures down a lot less, down less than 20 basis points, 19,560. Russell 2000 down over 1%. Crude oil up 1/3%, pushing 79 again. Gold up over 1%, 2350. Silver just under 30, up almost 1%. Volatility back up towards 13. Funny how I say that, back up towards 13. That's how low volatility has been 30-year bond futures up as well, back above 120 as the bond market continues to make moves. Very impressive there. Copper flat on the day. And then over on the old funny money, you got Bitcoin doing not much this morning, 67,000, pretty much flat today. Ethereum up over 1%, 3,500 and change. Solana just under 150, up almost 1%. Binance hanging in there above 600, up 2% on the day. Total crypto market cap, Spencer Israel, 2.38 trillion, as that Bitcoin dominance continues to act well. 55% of all crypto market caps comes from good old BTC. Good old BTC. BTC, Ethereum, Solana, Binance representing 80% of all of the crypto market cap. Your boy Novogratz, Luna tattoo guy, came out yesterday or the day before and said that total meme coin market cap now over $60 billion. And this is, Novogratz is a OG TradFi bro, orange pilled early. And, talking 60 billion market cap for meme coins, a little higher than I thought. I was thinking maybe somewhere in the 40s, 50 maybe at the most, over 60. All right.
A lot more than the market value of Bitcoin miners.
Well, yeah, obs. Happy Flag Day, everybody. Flag Day is a holiday celebrated today, June the 14th, in the United States. Commemorates the adoption of the flag of the United States, June 14th, 1777, by resolution of the Second Continental Congress. Fun fact. It's a fun fact. Did you know that that's why today was Flag Day?
No.
You knew that? Oh, I didn't know that.
No, I did not know that.
Yeah, whole lot of history. Wow, look at this Flag Day observations. Look at that. It's a lot of history here, Flag Day. Shout out, flags.
So
what's your favorite flag that's not the American flag? Because I'm gonna assume that your favorite flag is the American flag. What's your second favorite flag?
Viva Italia.
Really?
Yeah.
What about you? Is Spencer, is your second favorite flag the Italian flag?
No, it's the Maryland state flag. That's the only correct answer.
Man, that is one ugly flag, dude. Let me tell you something.
And
then
when hear no such thing.
When the Terps wear the Maryland, the helmets, man, those things are ugly, boy. Woo!
I will hear no such slander.
They fly those Conch Republic flags down here, JC. You've seen those around.
I love a good conch.
Yeah.
Conchs are delicious. Little conch chowder action, no big deal.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
That's right.
You're a fritters guy though. You're more fritters.
Oh man, let me tell you something. I have had some bad conch fritters in my life. So when I'm down in the Keys, I appreciate, the bad conch fritters. They like a lot of filler. You know what I'm talking about? Like you Maryland folks, you understand this sort of thing because of the crab cakes. A lot of filler and a shitty crab cake.
Yeah.
The Key West people have that same problem. Well, in Key West they don't have the problem. In Key West they do it right. That's why it's Conch Republic. You
can still find bad fritters.
Yeah, I'm sure, but you get really good ones there for sure. Harder to miss.
Hell yeah.
Right? Same idea from you Maryland crab people. Speaking of Maryland crab people, Dr. Phil Pearlman in the house today.
Crab people?
Yeah, crab people. Maryland. Crab cakes and football. What is it? That's
yeah, that's true.
More like crab cakes and lacrosse than crab cakes and football. But we'll let it slide.
So it's Crypto Friday. Why aren't we talking about the funny money?
All right. Well, we got Louis coming on in like a couple minutes. So
can we talk a little bit about I got a TradFi situation that I want to talk about here. Pull up slide 2 there, Spencer, please.
What's this?
What are we thinking here? So it's a CEO's job to increase shareholder value. That's a CEO's job. It's not to make employees happy. It's not to increase corporate earnings. It's not to do all these things that people think CEOs should be doing. CEO has one job, and that is to increase shareholder value. That's it. The CEO works for shareholders. The CEO does not work for employees, right? The CEO does not work for the government. The CEO does not work for financial media. The CEO has one job. Line go up. And no CEO in human history made more money for shareholders faster than Elon Musk. Nobody. Not even close.
Not recently.
Not ever.
No, I'm saying, to your point, that hasn't happened recently.
Hasn't happened ever. 30 in 2 years.
Spencer, it's
The
just
company
large numbers, right?
the company went from $30 billion to $1.3 trillion in 2 years. So again, you can adjust for inflation and go back to, the Rockefellers and the Vanderbilts and, find me a time where even inflation adjusted, more value was created for shareholders than what we saw Elon Musk do for Tesla. You don't find it. And I hope I'm wrong and you find me some obscure example of, the early 1900s.
I'm sure there's something out there. I'm sure.
Listen, there was value created, inflation adjusted as well, for sure. But 30 billion to 1.3 trillion in 2 years?
It's good. It's really good.
It's a lot. It's a lot. It's a lot. Okay, so then what's happened since then? So great. Elon Musk is the greatest that ever did it. Great. Over the last 30 months, this stock has corrected approximately 61.8% of that entire rally. Do you think that's a coincidence, Mr. Strazza, Mr. Spencer? You think that's a coincidence? No?
You know how I feel. It's probably not a top. I'm with you.
Do you think it's a coincidence that it corrected 61.8%?
No, we see this all the time. It's garden variety.
Pretty standard stuff. All right, now ready? Here's the good one, bro. Ready? Go to the next one. Ready?
Mm-hmm.
Kablam. Too clean?
I think it's fine.
Too clean? Too easy? Too simple?
I don't think it's easy.
Not complicated enough for some out there?
Wait, I have a point about Tesla. So what you're saying is it's basically been range bound for the last 3 years?
No, 30 months.
Okay, fine.
Kablam.
That range boundedness, that is what is normal about this stock. Go back and look 2015 to 2019, right?
Yeah, but that also happened after the initial thrust higher.
Yeah, well,
multi-year consolidation, absolute ripper.
You're both
multi-year
right.
Consolidation, and what comes next?
It's a rangy stock, but then when it's not ranging, when it resolves those ranges, look at what it does. Just calculate the moves.
And then you have people, of course, people with way too much time on their hands that like hate people who they've never met before. So Elon Musk is one of those figures, that creates, a downside bias and sort of a built-in short squeeze sort of scenario. Like other stocks we've seen in, like Palantir's kind of got some of that, right? And there's other names that kind of have some of that. The Trump SPAC is one of those. People just don't like the guy or whatever. This is one of those. So I love that. I really, really love that because it creates that natural built-in short squeeze and catalyst to send it much higher, faster than perhaps a stock that doesn't have that, people with too much time on their hands hating someone they've never met sort of factor, right? By the way, some bullish momentum divergences here. Also, I'd like to add that the consumer discretionary sector, of which Tesla is the second largest component, came into the week down for the year. Down for the year.
Yeah, I know.
On absolute terms, down for the year in a bull market. So on another note, so if consumer discretionary is going to get rotated into, my suspicion is Tesla is going to be a big leader there. Also on the denominator here, right? On further reasoning why perhaps Tesla could be an outperformer. S&P 500 new all-time highs yesterday. Spencer, do you know how many stocks on the New York Stock Exchange made a new 52-week high yesterday? Do you know?
Well, I wasn't counting the number.
It's not going to take you very long to count. Count them all. It was 29. 29. There are thousands of stocks that trade on the New York Stock Exchange, and a whopping 29 of them were actually able to make a new high yesterday on the day that the S&P 500 closed at a new all-time high. Did you also know, Spencer Israel, that with new all-time highs yesterday in the S&P 500, the New York Stock Exchange advanced decline line closed at new 6-week lows? Fun fact. Fun fact.
So if you throw up this chart, it will show you that new all-time highs are actually pretty common in bull markets. They happen a lot. What doesn't happen too much and isn't too common, we shouldn't be comfortable with in a bull market, is this kind of tape with so few new highs beneath the surface. Yesterday, I was complaining on Twitter about just the poor breadth from an advanced decline perspective. It's really the Mag 7. Like yesterday, you had the $3 trillion club higher. You had Broadcom with a huge earnings beat, and it was dragging the indexes up and masking a lot of damage that was happening beneath the surface. So if breadth doesn't improve soon, we're probably not still at new highs at the index level, because these things are being buoyed by just the biggest stocks right now.
Remember last year they were telling you that it was just 7 stocks? Like this time it actually is. Is that right?
Listen, its breadth was thin at times last year. It's thin again now. I don't think this is like really new in terms of this cycle. We've seen too much of this really, but we need to see that broadening. I think soon.
That's what's on my mind. The breadth deterioration there on the old denominator, of which is the S&P 500, the second most important stock market index in the world, but also the numerator. 30-month consolidation, bullish momentum divergences. I like that long Tesla, short S&Ps, or just long Tesla on an absolute basis, or just, selling naked puts against that 165 like we did earlier this week. Like those, I like all those things. That's where my head is at here on Crypto Friday.
Listen, you want to talk cryptos with Louis?
No, I want to talk about the
Adobe
Adobe
shit in the woods.
We have Adobe. We can do Adobe real fast, Steve. Adobe crushed it here. Blew it away. Huge beat. We have the Adobe chart.
JC, I don't know if Tesla is an easy trade. I think it's a sexy trade. Everybody wants to have an opinion on Tesla. But Adobe against the August 2022 highs, I think you could argue was an easy trade. If I remember correctly, I think Jeff DeGraff was on here yesterday. What did he say? I like to buy oversold conditions and uptrends. Some would argue this is no longer an uptrend, but what I will say is that this reversal pattern completed last year, the middle of last year, and we're all the way back to that old breakout level. So call it a hard retest, whatever, but that reversal is still in, as far as I'm concerned. We're above the 38% retracement. And there you go. There are some Fibonacci's again, JC. So.
Well, Strazza, I mean, you said it yourself. You brought up that chart of software, cybersecurity, and internet. We talked about it the other day, and it's like, well, if we're in a bull market, are these major tops, or are we just at support? And I think we all agreed that the risk was up, not major not major breakdowns, right?
If I've been obnoxious about buying weakness at key levels this year, then I'm really happy, because we've talked about the prior cycle highs and how that's a good entry in a lot of charts, the ASMLs, the Ubers, the CrowdStrikes, right? But also you have the base breakout levels in a lot of these. If they get retested, I'm not saying they have to hold, but if they don't hold, you lose a couple dollars. Your risk is extremely limited. It's a critical level of polarity. Those August 2022 highs are so important, such crucial levels for so many stocks. So I think, this is how you kind of build exposure to stocks in the bull market. You want to be buying weakness. You want to buy charts that look like this. As long as you can manage your risk responsibly and are comfortable that the primary trend is still higher. In this case, I think it is. If we're above the 38%, go for it. So Adobe's ripping. Can you read us the numbers?
Yeah, I mean, it was a massive beat. The EPS, the sales, EPS beat $4.48 versus a $4.39 estimate. Sales beat as well, 5.3 versus 5.29 billion. There's a slight beat there, but a bigger beat on the guidance, right? Their revenue guidance for the year, they beat that by 1.5 billion, right, with a B. EPS guidance came in several dollars, $2 ahead of estimates for the year. This chart does not reflect the price action this morning, but we are up 15%.
So it has been my strategy to buy bearish narratives in any of these mega cap companies. if I hear they missed AI and it's a mega cap growth stock like Adobe, or this was Google earlier this year, and this was Apple not too long ago. Nobody's saying that now, right? But a few months ago, Apple missed AI. Adobe missed AI too. Whenever you hear they missed AI, these, big tech behemoths, green light, missed AI.
I don't know if that's true for everyone, but all right.
Who's it not true for? I'm not talking about the IBMs of the world, sir.
Okay. I don't know.
Listen, the results don't lie. We keep buying the dips and these bearish narratives that they missed AI. Keeps working. I think Adobe's the next one.
What about the little snowflake? What a piece of crap that thing is, huh?
Yeah, well, that's not.
That's not in this basket.
They actually missed AI, right?
I don't even know anything about that company.
Mm-hmm.
Shall we bring Louis on?
Please.
Yeah.
Please.
All right. I almost played the wrong bumper, but Louis, I got you.
Got my fingers on the pulse, avocado and toast, leather seats, jet plane, always ready to go.
Ooh, avocado and toast. What up, Blue
Morning,
Dog?
guys. What's happening in Delaware where Mr. Musk just can't get paid?
Nope. You don't know where Delaware is, Louis. You're having a great hair day. Can I just tell you
Thank
that?
Appreciate it. Just got a cut today, actually, believe it or not. So appreciate it.
Looking good, Lou Dog. Looking good. I got a chart for you. I like mine better than yours. Throw up slide 5, Spencer. So this equally weights Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, and Binance, which represents approximately 80% of all of the crypto market capitalization.
Mm-hmm.
Looks a lot like these charts, right? Looks a lot like Binance. Looks a lot like Bitcoin, right? You see what I did here? You think I'm getting a little cute, or is that about right?
No, it's right. Like you said in our team meeting earlier this week, these things represent 80% of the total crypto market cap. So if you really want to know where crypto is going as an asset class, then just looking at Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, and Binance is really a good gauge to that. We've been talking about these former highs forever, and it's no surprise that this crypto market's just been churning sideways ever since Bitcoin's tested those former highs.
What about you brought up a great chart here, is the divergence between the NASDAQ and Bitcoin. We have seen the amount of divergences that we're seeing with the amount of things out there that are not making new highs. There are actually very few things making new highs. We talked about it yesterday. New all-time highs in the NASDAQ and the S&P 500, and virtually no stocks were able to make a new high. Bitcoin not able to make a new high either. This is something that's been, dancing with the NASDAQ for quite some time. How do you think about this divergence? Forget the other ones. How do you think about this one?
It's a puzzling one because this correlation really has existed for a long time. So what I'm specifically talking about is the correlation that exists between growth stocks and Bitcoin, or crypto as an asset class. The two trade tick for tick, or at least they have historically. And so whenever you get that decoupling between the two, that raises my eyebrows a little bit. That makes me question what's going on. And now the question that I ask is, what asset class is going to lead the other? Is it going to be the $100+ trillion stock market, or is it going to be the $2.5 trillion crypto market? In my eyes, I see equity markets as being, clearly the main driver here. So if the Nasdaq and growth stocks are rallying higher, it makes sense for me to see Bitcoin catch up to that.
What about the NASDAQ rolling over? That's not going to happen. They don't allow such things.
I mean, look, if the Nasdaq rolls over, if you get the Nasdaq catching down to this weak breadth that we're seeing under the hood, then sure, that's absolutely not a good thing for Bitcoin. And it's really interesting because you talk about breadth in equity markets and how thin it is. The same is absolutely true in crypto markets. So while Bitcoin is still chopping about in the sideways range, and it really isn't going anywhere, you're actually seeing an expansion in the number of cryptocurrencies making new lows, hitting oversold conditions, and really just selling off, particularly over the last few weeks. It's really messy when you look down underneath the surface. And so it's a story that rings true not only for equities, but also in the crypto markets as well.
Can we talk about the WAGMI And the
Absolutely.
strength
I
that we're
want to talk about this. We've been writing about it for weeks now, saying how much of a high conviction area it is, and this is why. This is relative strength, folks. You want to know what relative strength looks like? This is it. Bitcoin selling off. Look at these Bitcoin miners. This is just an absolute pure example of relative strength. And it's really interesting, the entire dynamic that's happening here. Just think about where sentiment is at in these Bitcoin miners. Carousel comes out and they launch a war against crypto miners, saying that it's an industry of snake oil salesmen. They're shorting Riot. You have a lot of these companies, they're pivoting to AI. Core Scientific just signed a 12-year deal with CoreWeave for an AI deal, which is repurposing their computing power, using that towards AI. You've got the short interest in these things, they're astronomical. So that means that investors are betting on further downside price action in these crypto stocks. And not only all of that, you've got the Bitcoin denominated revenues of all of these companies just got slashed in half at the Bitcoin halving event. But you've got all of that going on. But at the same time, these stocks are rallying. And so that makes me question
also,
what's
I
going
want to
on here.
mention something that I think that we do a great job of here. Not just at All Star Charts, but a lot of people that we talk to and stuff like that, is understanding what's inside of these ETFs. And if you're wondering why the hell the WGMI is acting so well, it's because what's in it. Largest component is Clean Spark. Second largest component is Iris Energy, right? So a third of this entire index is just Clean Spark and Iris. Mara represents less than 9%. And Riot represents 4%, right?
Yeah.
So the worst ones are small, this ETF doesn't have a lot of exposure to the worst ones and has an obscene amount of exposure to the best ones.
So yeah,
it doesn't even have wolf in it, right?
I have an announcement to make about the Bitcoin miners.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I talked to Louis about it last night. Probably been putting it off for too long. This space, I think, right now represents a great trade, an incredible trade, right? From an investment perspective, we've been wary, and I think that's been the right move, right? However, there are so many of these companies now, right? I think there are going to be some real winners and losers. There's winners and losers in every group. There are going to be some heroes and zeros, and you're already kind of seeing it, Louis, right? With some of this price action just recently. So I think the good ones are going to separate themselves. The market is still figuring out how to price these things and what's really going on at these companies. If you want to be bearish Bitcoin miners, go on a late night Twitter Spaces with some of these guys who serve on their boards and ask them. Ask them about the cap tables and the dilution and the stock comp. It's crickets. But they got all the stories about AI and everything. It's really an interesting space. There's like 15 of these companies publicly traded now. I'm going through all of them. So we're going to figure out who are the good guys, who are the bad guys, who's paying 50% of sales or revenue in stock comp, who's not, right? So I think if you could find the good operators, I think there's going to be some great investments here too. We can own these things longer term. So,
and talking about winners and losers, it's just look at the price action and what's happening with Riot and Bitfarms at the moment.
I was going to say,
there's a
sounds like
hostile
the shareholders have done the work for you already, Strazza.
No, there's some strange pricing going on in the space.
Well, what's your take on what's happening with Bitfarms? Because that's really interesting. So you've got Riot, they're increasing their stake in Bitfarms. They just increased their stake to 14% yesterday or the other day. And so they're trying this hostile takeover. And then you had Bitfarms that have the announcement that they're launching to expand their scale, which is going to lower the electricity costs as well. And it's rallying pre-market. And so do you think they've done that like tactically? What's happening here where they want, Riot to be paying as much of a premium as possible if that's going to be happening?
I think it's the right way to think. You're seeing Bitfarms blow through the rumored deal price, right? So the market's telling you 230, it ain't happening.
Yeah.
And then what were the details about the deal for Core Scientific? Do you know?
I just know that they signed a 12-year deal where they're going to be repurposing some of their machinery to AI.
Yeah, but didn't they turn down a buyout offer?
Yeah, they turned down, I believe it was a $1 billion buyout. That number might be wrong, but they definitely turned down a buyout, and their current market cap has far exceeded what the buyout number was.
Yeah, 50% higher. All right, that's great.
I really want you to pull up the chart that I have overlaying Bitcoin and the Bitcoin miners over the longer time frame.
Sick.
Hold on, one
This-
second.
this-
Hold on, 1 second. I just want to mention
great.
quickly on the
This is-
WAGMI, before you get into this, the WAGMI is really interesting because they have no assets under management. It's less than $100 million, which might as well be zero.
You can't buy that.
But it trades 750,000 shares a day. Like, it's pretty wild how much volume is in this thing despite the lack of assets. Just wanted to throw that out there.
We're gonna buy the best ones and not the worst ones.
And so this really is the chart. So when the Bitcoin ETF launched in January, what happened? Bitcoin miners went essentially nowhere. Bitcoin went parabolic. Now you're seeing that dynamic reverse, where you're seeing Bitcoin miners catch up to Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Historically, miners and Bitcoin have been quite correlated, but in the first half of the year, that just hasn't been the case. And so I think there's really just a monster catch-up trade
Yes.
that's really brewing here.
Got to be super long. Which are the ones? Like, what are the best vehicles? What is the single best Bitcoin miner to end? Some are extended. Some are making new multi flows.
I was I wrote a note to some of our crypto members today saying that I think particularly over the next few weeks, particularly with the Bitcoin miners ETF at the index level running into those former highs, I
Yeah.
think probably over the next few weeks you're probably going to see some of these gains digest.
Yeah.
But longer term, we've been in the names like TeraWolf, Iris Energy. Those have really treated us well. You've got Cypher Mining building out a beautiful base. These things are
Cypher,
just shaping up.
you see what I sent you last night?
What do you send me?
I was digging a little bit. I started with Cypher. These guys got warrants, 2026 warrants. Just saying.
Interesting.
They're out there.
Very
Thanks.
interesting.
JC, did you hear warrants?
Oh, I heard. I still don't have my list. I don't know where the
Bitcoin
list is.
miner warrants. We got the list. I sent you the list.
No,
We
send it
have
to
the
me.
list. We got it. Yeah, we
Send
got
it to me a list, and I want regular updates on that. Fonz, jump on that, please.
I have it. I got it from no.
I know, but I want it updated, and I want it.
Not
you
going
know.
to change very often. You update it like once a year. How many new
Good.
warrants issued?
Once a quarter.
Cypher looks great right now.
Once a quarter is good, right? Can we get a chime in on the chat there? What do you guys think about the warrants? How often do you think we need to update it? Once a quarter, right? That's good. Once a year is not enough. Once a quarter, Fonz. I've got a good question here from the chat, Lou Dog. So the Trump is now pro crypto. How do you think about that? Like, is he just saying whatever he needs to say to make people happy and vote for him? Or do you think there's a little bit more behind this? Do you think it doesn't matter? Do you think having the president of the United States actually being pro crypto is a good thing? It doesn't sound like a bad thing. I don't know. What are your thoughts as a foreigner with no horse in the race here?
Just as a brief disclaimer before I go on to this, I don't really give a shit. I care about price action, but then again, just saying that, I think it makes sense. Just looking over there, the right wing and the orange pill community seems to have quite an overlap on the Venn diagram. It really just makes sense. I think it's, Coinbase CEO came out and said that crypto really shouldn't be a partisan issue. And to that, you probably have to agree that it shouldn't be a partisan issue. But it doesn't surprise me to see the support that Trump has laid out for these Bitcoin miners, obviously saying that he wants.
Didn't he used to hate it? Didn't he used to say, right? He was a hater back in the day, right?
I think there's a decent contingency of the orange pill community that certainly lean right, and so I think it's just an easy way to collect that vote.
I don't think people vote on crypto.
I think you'll be
wrong.
surprised. In
Yeah,
the
you're wrong.
future, I think it's going to be a big issue, particularly amongst younger people who own crypto.
I could see in other countries, Louis, but America, less of a
It's,
chance.
I don't.
people get
Yeah,
it.
on a like on a per capita basis, Straz is right.
Can't be
There are a
material.
lot, but on a per capita basis, maybe in other countries is bigger. Yeah, I'll give you that one.
Well, crypto's just more important to other countries' financial systems and people's lives. Like it's
Yeah.
really not. It's an investment here. It's a speculative asset, and people know.
But it is really interesting to see how, there's obviously a lot of political elections this year. In the UK, they haven't really mentioned all that much about it. In the US, it's clearly becoming a bit of an issue. And so it's really interesting to see that dynamic. And I think in the future, that's an emerging trend as more younger people begin to vote. They have greater exposure to crypto markets. And I think it really is going to be a political issue moving forward. And you're almost seeing it. It's political suicide to really bet against Bitcoin.
I don't know about that.
I don't know about
I
political
think
suicide, but I think you're definitely making your life harder.
I think you have to differentiate between the countries with stable currencies and the countries with unstable currencies. The countries with unstable currencies, absolutely. Bitcoin should be a big issue and a platform to run on. Developed countries with stable currencies,
Also,
Not
some of these countries,
They're
Bitcoin's bigger than the entire GDP. Bitcoin's bigger than their entire stock market. In the United States, Bitcoin represents a tiny little fraction of what we got going on.
I
So there's
mean,
that also.
the meme coin market cap is probably bigger than the GDP of New Zealand. So,
Dude, New Zealand has like 10 times more sheep than humans. Remember we did the math?
we did the
other day.
math.
We did the
did.
math. They got a hell of a lot more sheep than humans, which is wild. It's a wild stat. These Kiwis. Speaking of way down under, Iris Energy is an Aussie company.
Oh,
knew that?
Really?
Did you guys know that?
I thought it was Canadian.
Is this like the Canadian solar? It's actually in China. Is it one of those
No, it's
situations?
Aussie. It's Aussie. So like as a New Zealand native, does that make you hate Iris Energy because it's Aussie? Like, do you guys have like real beef?
If anything, it makes me bullish.
Does it?
It's lovely. It's lovely to see Aussies and New Zealanders getting into crypto.
Where do the Kiwis and the Aussies beef? Like in rugby and stuff like that, like sports?
Certainly rugby, certainly cricket. Lots
Yeah.
of beef in cricket. That's
But that's
really
it. It's
where
just kind of
at.
like a friendly sports beef, like a
I
New
mean,
York
I would say
Boston.
that there's beef between New Zealand and Australia in rugby, but there really isn't beef because we're just so much better than them in rugby in every possible way. So there's
Wow.
not real any competition there.
Wow.
Which is surprising, right? Because New Zealand is such a small country, but yet we hold our weight quite well in terms of global sport. Best rugby team in the world, sailing, cricket, whatever it is, just not
Yeah.
basketball.
I think it's because they're focused on those sports. Like they're not playing hockey in New Zealand, for example, right? They're not, they're focused on a few sports, right? America's very
right,
diversified. We got a lot of things going on here. That's right,
Yeah, exactly.
And what would Grant say to your comments out of curiosity?
Well, Grant isn't here, so we'll just leave it at that. I
So
don't think
fuck
he'll
him, right?
be a fan. I don't think he would be a fan of those comments.
Take that, Grant.
Stick it, Grant. Speaking of sailing, Spencer, quite the sailor. You look like
What?
a sailor.
Yeah.
You look like a sailor.
You belong out on the water. You look like a fisherman.
You look like a young Ernest Hemingway.
Yeah, like you're like if the old man from the Old Man in the Sea existed, it's you.
If you had a fishing rod and you were like twice your age or 3 times your age, you would make a hell of an Ernest Hemingway.
Wait, who are we talking about? Louis
No,
or me?
Contest
Me?
down here every year, Spencer.
Yeah.
We're gonna fly you down. John Carlo
Yeah.
will come. We'll tape it.
I
And
agree.
you're gonna win the Ernest Hemingway lookalike contest in Key
Yes,
West.
I agree.
What?
Yeah.
100%.
We're gonna make an event out of it. It'll be fun. We'll do like
You
man
need like
on-
a raincoat. You got to wear like a raincoat.
Yep.
And like one of those hats.
We're gonna dress
Okay.
up.
Fine.
Yeah,
we'll take
Spencer,
care of it.
we are submitting you for the Ernest Hemingway lookalike contest.
Never
in
heard of this.
Key West, Florida. It's a big deal. It's a big deal. It's all the rage.
So all the mall Santas from around the world come down for this event
Yeah.
and dress as Ernest Hemingway.
Yeah. You
Makes
don't
sense.
have to be a mall Santa. You don't have time for that. You just skip right to the good stuff.
All
Dude,
right,
if you
Lou
win,
Dog.
we're splitting the winnings.
Fine. Fine. I don't even know what we're talking about right now.
That'll fund the trip and then some.
Thanks
All
a lot, Lou.
All right, but before I leave, I need to reply to this. Grant Hawkridge in the chat. New Zealand cricket is woeful. You're talking absolute bollocks, and you know it. So
Grant's here.
He is
Oh,
talking
he heard
absolute
us.
bollocks. Bollocks.
Oh,
Is that a word that you guys
you
use
said
upside
bollocks.
down there? What is a bollocks?
That's not a phrase over there.
What's a
I love
bollocks?
it.
Wow, you guys really need to learn some
He said bollocks.
slang.
Do you
This
know
show
what
is
bollocks
bollocks.
are?
Thanks,
Just
Louis.
like Phil said in the chat, it's just great banter.
All right.
All
All right,
right,
guys,
Lou.
let's
Oh,
bring in
God.
Dr. Pearls. All right,
Adios.
Blue Dog, adios.
Oh my God. That is, I think, and I can't be sure, but I think
gotta
that was the first bollocks we've ever gotten on
What
the
is a
show.
bollocks? Like a Sandra Bollocks?
It's just a great word, is what it is.
We need Grant saying it for the soundboard.
Rant.
Can someone define, how do you even spell bollocks?
BOLLOCKS. Bollocks, right?
I don't
Yeah.
think that's right.
Or is there a U
I
in
think
there?
that's right. Maybe Phil knows. Let's bring Phil on and talk about it.
Chiefly
I don't know.
British, usually vulgar, means testicles.
Yeah, I mean,
Jay, we've been friends for a long time. Make the call.
I mean, this is pretty professional, guys.
Nice show you got going here.
Pearl Dog.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Two things, Pearl. Where's your tie?
yeah.
Yeah, exactly. There's no
Why
tie.
was,
I'll never
Phil,
wear it. Hey,
Phil,
Strazza.
why was JC so dressed up in the
Dude,
city?
he did look sharp, man.
Looked
You know
good.
what it is? Here's the thing.
Uh-huh.
Ties are now back in. They got
Yeah.
so far out. You know what I
Wow.
mean? You know that chart that shows the relative performance of every asset class annually, and like you see the ones that like energy's at the bottom for like 2 years in a row, and all of a sudden it's at the top. It's the same thing with ties, man. Ties have been out since COVID. They've been so out, and now they're back in. And the first sign they were back in was me seeing JC wearing a tie in the Village 2 days ago or Wednesday, whenever that was. And then I was like, dude, what's up with the tie? Of course, I have no idea. And he's he's fashion forward. So, that's what's going on. And then we interviewed Pomp yesterday on the Trends with Friends.
Mhm.
And the guy comes on looking like a CFO, like wearing a tie with the freaking suit
Like a
jacket, the whole
Like a-
thing.
Like
Oh,
an
I
actual-
think and then he was like, yeah, ties are back in, man. Like, get with the program.
Oh, wow. So you guys got some good information. That's why it's good to go to the city every now and then, right?
So
You learn these
Dr.
things.
Horton just laid some knowledge on you mofos, by the way.
So it's back
So
up.
the only real Sex Pistols album that was ever made was Nevermind the Bullocks. And that was that means balls, right? Bullocks is balls. I think.
I just learned that. Yes. You knew that?
And here's another one for you. In The Old Man in the Sea, guys, Lewis looks like Manolin, the
Santiago.
boy who befriends the old man against his parents' wishes.
But we were
You gotta
talking
go back
about
and read that
Spencer.
book, bro. You live in the
We
you
weren't
live in the
talking about
Keys. You got to
Louis.
read that book. What's
I've
that?
read it plenty. We weren't talking about Louis. We were talking about Spencer looking like Santiago.
Oh, I thought you were talking about Louis looking like Hemingway.
No, Spencer looks like Hemingway.
Spencer looks like Hemingway.
Like a
That'd be
young Ernest Hemingway.
right. No, I
Like
think
a-
he could. I think he could do that.
Like a longer beard, white, and a yellow raincoat and a fishing rod.
Yes,
He wins that contest every year, bro.
100%. Really, he could.
So Pearlman, correct me if I'm wrong, but a 2:00, 2:30 breakfast sushi in the Village that's on the Pearlman program, right?
Perfect. That's like a perfect breakfast right there. 2 in the afternoon.
Yeah.
Sashimi all day long.
Do we have the picture?
Picture of Pearl Dogs in
The spread. It was such a nice spread.
Yeah, it was all right. They didn't have any uni. It wasn't that great of a spread.
Pearls, there
Little
was rice on
disappointing.
that. There was rice on that plate, Pearls.
Yeah, I had a little rice, but I had mostly fish. But what are you gonna do?
It's over in slide 2. You could show it. So yeah, a little too much rice. If I actually took some of the rice off, and I wasn't just doing that because I was sitting in front of Pearlman. I thought some of these are a little rice heavy. The fish to rice ratio, a little much for me.
So let's
gonna
talk
lie.
about that because this is like a weekend meal for me. So me and Pearls have been working together, trying to trim up a little bit, right, for the golf game. But I have problems with the weekends. You know, I like to eat good on the weekends. So I'm trying to find some balance, fewer carbs in my life. Where do we draw the line on meatballs?
Oh, meatballs are great, Pearlman.
Right? Show my
Meat-
meatballs. Pearls.
Meatballs have breadcrumbs in them, but it depends. It's N equals 1. Everybody's different, right? So if you're eating really clean and you're moving your body often, early and often, and you have a few meatballs, it's totally fine. But if you're like going out, like if you're eating clean during the week and then you have some meatballs and then that's like a gateway, then all of a sudden you're drinking beers and eating pizza at 1 a.m, then it's a problem. So it's really just, and it's also about a matter of how your body personally responds. If you have some meatballs 6 o'clock in the evening, don't snack until midnight, wake up the next morning feeling good and feeling leaner. You're fine.
Yeah.
And
So
also,
it's
if you're
N
really
equals
worried
1.
about the breadcrumbs in your meatballs, just throw chicharrones in there instead.
You can do that. That's advanced,
Really?
that's graduate level.
Yeah,
Wow.
chicharrones. You could buy ground up chicharrones, and you could just include that if you want that crunch. It's good. You would never know the difference.
Really? That's fantastic.
Super delicious.
Okay.
Yeah. I would argue that chicharrones are better than the breadcrumbs.
I would argue that too. I don't even think it's close. You get that
Hold
all
on,
that flavor.
let's take a step back. Hold on, let's take a step back because some of the folks who might not know Dr. Phil Pearlman are wondering why the hell are these guys talking about sushi and meatballs when markets are moving. We're YOLOing GameStop. Like, what does this have to do with investing and trading? Pearlman, learn them. School these folks.
Okay, so let me just tell you something. So when you're trading, there are things you can control and things you can't control. Okay, you can't control price. You can't control which way the market's going to go. You really don't know. And as a matter of fact, technical analysis isn't really a predictive tool as much as it is a risk management tool. And so that's price behavior. You have no control over that, but you do have control over your own behavior, what you do. And this right here is your apparatus. This is as much and as important a tool that you're trading with as your, whatever application you're using, whatever platform you're using to look at charts and to execute trades, right? And so what you want to do is you want to treat this apparatus incredibly well, because the better you treat this tool, this part of your trading stack, the better you will perform. So I call this fitness alpha or performance alpha, whatever you want to call it. The better you take care of yourself, the more energy you have, the greater ability to focus, the more emotional control, the faster your reaction time. All of these things are affected directly by how well you take care of yourself. And so when I work with people on general health, mind, body, spirit. I work with traders on their developing their trader. People come to me that are having problems that they're repeating over and over again. Very skilled, talented people who go on tilt, or who are having difficult controlling themselves in very specific or more generalized situations. And the place I always start, almost always, but 9 out of 10 times, is I start with that person's general health, well-being, spirit, mind, body.
Yeah.
That's why we're talking about meatballs.
Yeah. You get one body. You only get one.
You only get one. And we know for a fact, right? I mean, there's so much garbage research out there, right? But there's some research that has been replicated so many times that we know it for a fact, right? And so things like our metabolic health relative to our energy level. And if you don't trust the research out there, you could do the experiment with yourself, and you can treat your body well and see how much energy you have. That energy you're going to need, right? Because, I mean, look, we just went through earnings season, right? We just had the NVIDIA circus. The GameStop thing is crazy. End of day, end of week, you're exhausted. You're physically exhausted, emotionally exhausted, the whole thing. So you need that energy. You need control, like Mike Tyson. You need controlled force and aggression, right? You got to go in, right? If you have a strong trade and you come in over the top, you need that capacity. So you have no greater control over anything else in the universe aside more than you do your own health and how you treat your body and your mind. I can't stress this enough.
I got a question, Pearls.
Go ahead.
You always talk about how good eggs are for you. Eggs are
Yes.
so good, right?
Yes.
You also talk about how great fish is for you. Fish,
course.
so good.
Yep.
So, call me crazy. Are fish eggs the best thing a body can consume?
Wow.
Fish eggs are phenomenal. Fish eggs are phenomenal. I mean, you got to figure, I mean, think about it. Think about eggs like this, right? You have an egg and life is formed from that egg, right? That is the building blocks of life. And so you're taking the building blocks of life and you're putting it into your own body. You're giving yourself your own building blocks. Fucking better than waffles and syrup, guys. I mean, like, I don't know how much clearer I could say that. If
I
you
was
love waffles
thinking
and syrup.
about it the other day, Pearls. I was eating these
Just math,
langoustines.
right? Phil Blotsky, just math, right?
Hold on, Phil.
That's
So
right.
I was eating these langoustines, right? And I got like, I don't know, 6 or 7 langoustines, and a couple of them were pregnant, I guess. So all the little fish eggs were in there, right? All these little orange little fish eggs, because the langoustines are like kind of like the longer shrimp sort of situations, not quite a lobster, but you know what I mean? So they were in there, and I was fishing out like after I ate the langoustines, because the langoustines are humongous, but there's only like this much meat actually in them. So I'm like going back into my, into the shells, and I'm fishing out the eggs. I'm like, I gotta eat these, right?
I don't know, man. That's kind of weird.
You think so?
Yeah.
I don't think that's
I
weird.
think you got it. I think that's delicious.
So
and
they don't really
healthy
taste
and
like much. It tastes
unbelievable.
like garlic. It doesn't,
But like
really
they were,
powerful flavors.
they weren't supposed to be in there.
I think they were. It's a delicacy. I think that's part of the
Really?
deal.
Yeah. Well, I told you the story about the oysters. Some weird stuff going on. Well, I
Hey,
like
Jonathan Vorkheimer, real quick.
Yeah.
Here's the thing about the cholesterol. If you are metabolically healthy, right, you're lean, then you get to be about 40, 45 years old. You go get yourself a calcium scan, right? You go tell your doctor that you want to get a picture taken of the actual pipes, right? So when they do the cholesterol, that's like a shadow on the wall of a cave. You're getting the shadow. You get a calcium scan, they're actually looking at the pipes to see how clear they are. If you go get that calcium scan and your pipes are and you go get one every 5 years or every 7 years or whatever, and your pipes are clean, you don't even have to think about that stuff. I mean, your body makes cholesterol. Cholesterol is not poison. It's been vilified. I mean, I'm not your doctor.
Yeah.
But go to your doctor. I'm just saying, if your pipes are clean, you're fine. So if you're metabolically healthy, your cholesterol will be more controlled.
Right. So that's what I was going to ask. Like a lot of these health issues, common health issues, is the high cholesterol driven more by like exercise and your behavior than it is by your actual diet?
It's driven partly by genetics. And the effect, it's not so much the cholesterol. Your body makes cholesterol. It's not so much the cholesterol. It's your metabolic health and the way that cholesterol, among other factors, are affecting your pipes, right? Like how well blood is flowing in this area of, this area of your body, in and around your heart. That's what matters. And so this cholesterol vilification is a massive oversimplification. So many things are oversimplified. And we live, as many of you are aware, we live in sort of this toxic society, right? There's so many things off. I mean, you guys were talking about politics before. I mean, it's a fucking mess. Global politics is a mess. Our national health is a mess. Obesity is going crazy. The information that we have received is just whack. We've been receiving bad information for so long that it's intrinsic in all of us. It's a part of the collective unconscious of this culture. And so what you want to do is you want to see for yourself. You want to find out yourself. And it's sort of like going the other way on a trade. It's sort of like being a contrarian in the market, right? You're going to be a contrarian. You go against the grade. You see this, a stock's going down. It hits support. It goes through support and it bounces back. And, what does Shannon say? From false move comes fast moves. But at that point where it bounces back above support, everybody's bearish. What's that?
You know what we say? Shake
What
and
do you
bake.
say? Shake and bake.
Bill, I want to talk more about the metabolism because I learned something from you. So, like, getting healthy is a different battle for different people, right? And a lot of that's just based on your metabolism. First of all, is there a way to measure metabolic health, and what would it be? And second of all, if you let it go, right, your metabolism can deteriorate in a way into a level where it kind of re-regulates and you don't get it back, to maybe where you originally started. So it's less genetic than I thought.
Metabolism, here's the best measure, okay? Go look in the mirror. If you're fat, you have 85% chance, 90% chance you have poor metabolic health. If you're lean, right, chances are you might not be fully metabolically healthy, but that's a clean measure. If you're lean, you feel good, you have energy, those are signs. I mean, you go to a doctor, he could test your blood pressure, cholesterol, he could test multiple factors, your organ functioning. He could test multiple factors related to your metabolic health. However, your body weight is like 85%. If you're lean and you feel good, that's telling you something right there. That's like a stupid, simple way to measure. Get on a scale every morning and look at your body weight.
Okay. So say, not talking about anyone specifically, a skinny person starts out good metabolism, gains some weight. That metabolism worsens, gets lean again. Does his metabolism go back to where it started?
It is slightly, I said 85%, not 100%. It is a little bit more complicated than that, but I'm just using, that is a really strong heuristic to use, is body weight. So there are other factors. You do want to go to the doctor. As a matter of fact, I can give you guys recommendations about exercising and meditation and nutrition all day. But one recommendation that, the health gurus never give you is go to your fucking doctor. You know what I mean? Go to your doctor and let them take your blood pressure and see what's going on. Is your blood sugar high? Are you overweight? How overweight are you? All those kinds of things you need to know. Here's the thing. Our bodies, answer your question. Here's the thing. We are insanely adaptive animals, right? There are human beings that live at the equator, and there are human beings that live above that Arctic Circle line, right? We can live in the freezing cold. We can live in the very warm. We are adaptive animals, and our bodies change and adapt unbelievably quickly to the way we treat it. So if we start, let's say we're just, beating the shit out of our bodies, and we're getting a little older. All of a sudden we turn 40, we turn 45. We're like, man, can't take drinking 3 times a week anymore. It's too much. I'm dragging. And I'm gaining weight. I'm eating Funyuns on the couch watching Netflix, right? You can change
Pearlman
that.
is such a hater on Funyuns. Hates
Dude,
Funyuns.
I just use that,
I know,
Doritos, fun. Like, people eat shit, like
Funyuns.
Dude, hate on Funyuns.
Man.
I just like the way, I think it sounds funny. Like, it's a funny word, Funyuns. You know what I mean? It's a funnier word than Doritos.
I think
so. So people are fun. So you could just change that. Like, everybody can change. So if all of a sudden you start, hey, I'm going to go out and get a morning walk in. Hey, I'm going to go eat a steak and some broccoli instead of like pasta out of a box. You could change. And in a couple of weeks and in a month, your body's going to be feeling a lot different than it did a month ago. And that's N equals 1. And so you're like, hey, wait, I'm onto something here. I'm starting to do some things right. Your body will change. So you have a lot of control. And I'm not talking about everybody here. People have health conditions. I don't want to be blanket statementing, but I'm talking about in general, heuristically. You could change your health on your own in a pretty short period of time. And it becomes its own positive reinforcement. It's like, hey, I feel better. I'm going to do that again. Hey, I feel better. I'm going to do that again. And that begins like this positive feedback loop instead of the negative feedback loop that a lot of people who age in our country as they become older into their 40s and 50s especially begin to experience sort of this negative impact of gaining a little bit of weight every year. So before we go, I want to talk about the markets really quickly. Okay. I have just one thing that I want to talk about in the markets. Then I'm going to have to hop. I want to talk about this. I want everybody watching and listening today to think about October of 2023, specifically October 27th, 2023. The markets were getting beat. 22 was a down year. 23, we came back like crazy. And then all of a sudden, we get into September, October, markets getting hit again like crazy. And it's like, oh my God, we're back to this. 22 didn't end. That was just a bear market. First half of 23 was a bear market rally. Fuck. And there were a lot of people at that time. Yes, you must lift also. Topher, I love that. There was a lot of people at that time who were overextended, who were too deep. And maybe I'm not talking about your trading account. Maybe I'm talking about your investments, right? Maybe you got, some money put away. You're investing it. You got it in the ETFs. You're doing all the right passive things. And at that moment in October, you were like, fuck, you were twisting in the wind because the market was getting hit. And emotionally, you were in a very bearish place. Fear, anxiety, whether you want to admit it or not, you were experiencing it. And what happens? Out of the woodwork, all of these pundits on TV and in the Wall Street Journal and in Barron's and in your local newspaper come out of the woodwork talking about behavioral finance and all of the biases and loss aversion and how start wagging their finger at you, how you should make changes to what you're doing. They're telling you that shit at the fucking bottom. Okay. And so what I'm doing right now, I don't know if it's the top or not. I mean, the market's incredible and technology is unbelievable. What's happening with this whole AI thing. I have no idea where the market's going. But what I do know is the time to manage your risk is when the tide is high, right? The time to manage your risk. So if you were twisting in the wind, think back to October. If you were twisting in the wind in October with your long-term investment account, you were like, fuck, I'm really fucked here. I'm really in a situation. I may not be able to retire. I mean, there's people out there that have that situation.
Yeah.
I want you to go and think, hey, what can I do right now? Can I do like a Warren Buffett and say, hey, I'm just going to take some money and put it in cash and be 75-25 instead of 100-0 or 70-30. And that way, if we do get a real bear market, and it will happen again, and we're down 25-30%, I'm only down, 10-15%.
Phil, I think what I'm hearing is don't be afraid to feed the ducks a little.
Don't be afraid to feed the ducks. And now is a better time to feed the ducks than I'm just telling somebody I'm late here.
All-time highs is a better time to feed the ducks than fresh multi-month lows.
And when you're twisting in the wind, if you're selling down there, that's what they call capitulation, and you're a part of it. If you're selling up here, you're feeding the ducks.
One more thing. Hold on.
You're thinking more clearly
I
in
want to
this
chime in here.
market than in the late October 2023 market, right? Aren't you thinking more clearly? You're not in some sort of big drawdown like you were in Q4 last year?
If you're selling when you're being greedy, like now you're greedy. Everybody's greedy. You guys are talking about shit coins, and with
What does
Louis
that have to do with
before.
greed, though?
Well, that's a risk-on environment conversation. You guys weren't having that conversation in October of 23.
Well, a lot of these
those
meme
things
coins
were all and earlier. Those
a lot of
things
these
were all
meme
the
coins
short.
didn't exist yet in October. To be fair,
Right? But you know what I mean. You know what I mean. I'm talking about risk assets.
So hold on, Pearlman. When you talk about this capitulation, can you talk about males and females? I know you got to hop, but this is a really interesting conversation because it's something I've read a lot about, and men in particular are more vulnerable to that puking at the lows because of the responsibility that men feel towards their family, right?
Who said that?
I've read a ton about it. Men are much more, especially fathers.
Yeah, but maybe like
Um,
50 years ago, that shouldn't be true today.
Just telling you, right? Like, can you talk quickly just about the difference between men and females in that respect?
There's differences. There's differences between men and women, but more important than that, there are differences between individuals. There's individual differences. Everybody's a little bit different. And so what you want to do, everybody watching this, where you're male, female, you have some kind of crazy pronoun, I don't even care. You want to know yourself. You just want to know what your thing is. Hey, I tend to do this. Hey, I tend to get crazy near bottoms. There's some people that have a different reaction than you. You just want to know yourself. So men, women, you, N equals 1, N equals you.
I think it's great advice.
Fascinated by all that stuff. All right, final trade, Pearl. What are you buying? Which dog coin are you buying? Or are you more of a cat kind of guy?
I love teasing about them, and I love talking about the Peppy coin and the dog with hat and the hamster with hat.
With
But
There's a hamster with hat.
I don't get involved with any of that stuff. I'm just piling money away for a long period of time, and occasionally I get involved with like something I know about.
You're buying.
I have an edge. I have a little Google edge.
Pepe coin is $5 billion in market capitalization.
There you go.
You could take your hate and you could shove it up your ass, Pearlman.
I'm not hating. I love you, dude. I love what you do. I'm a fan. It's just not my thing. Yeah.
I know what you're buying. You're buying TLT. I saw your technical analysis. That was sweet, man.
I know higher highs and higher lows. I'm a simple guy. Simple trend analysis.
Yep.
I'm not buying. I don't get even involved with the TLT. I really don't get involved with the TLT. I'm just looking at it as if interest rates are coming in.
Yeah.
I think that is bullish for the market over a longer period of time. I love that, and that's what I'm looking for. That's why I'm analyzing that and keeping an eye on that. Guys, I got to go. I love you all. Mwah. Brian Harris, shout out for the Orioles avatar, by the way. Adios, guys.
Bye, Phil. Listen, I like TLT. I like where his head's at, man. I mean,
I owe everybody in the chat an apology. So I just want to get this out of the way. There is a hamster with hat, actually. And I'm not trying to shill this because it's only $1.8 million market cap. It is the 3,108th largest token in the world, so it's tiny. But yes, there is a hamster with hat.
You're funny.
In case anybody's interested in it, there's really not much information.
Well, it's okay. We're gonna forgive you for missing that.
So I apologize for that. It just wasn't on my. I mean, look, you could buy it on Jupiter and Radium, actually.
Would you say it's below our line at 1.5 million?
It is below our line, but I do want to apologize to everyone out there, all of the hamster tribe out there.
Yeah, yeah. You listen. You're gonna piss some people off talking like that.
No, I'm not trying to do that. That's not what this is about. This is all love, guys. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not trying to disrespect, the hamster society. Can we bring in our resident TradFi bro? Bring it back to TradFi. Bring our resident TradFi bro, one Alfonso. Bring him in. Spencer.
Fonz. Dog with flea.
Fonzie.
Look
at this guy.
New camera angle. Woo!
Oh, hey now. Ernest Hemingway in the house. Let's go.
Wait, yeah, Fonz. Is it Fonz? You ready? I hope you're ready. I assume he's ready.
Bring him in. If he's not ready,
Whatever.
Oh,
hey guys.
There he is, Alfonso in the house. Let's go, Fonzo.
How's it going?
Oh,
how's everything going, man?
You tell us.
Did you know there was a hamster with hat?
I have no idea. I have no idea what these coins are. So
Fonz might look young, but he's a TradFi bro through and through.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Born and bred to be a TradFi bro.
I like it, man. I like it.
And with your maturity, you're like you're like an old man in the body of like somebody in their 20s, but you're like an old man in a lot of ways.
I consider myself mature, yes, and
You're definitely
responsible.
way more mature than some of us.
I think so.
All right, Fonz, let's talk about TradFi. You know, yeah, I'm big into counting. You know, call me old fashioned,
Mhm.
but I like to count. And yesterday I've seen, okay, well, the S&P 500 hit a new all-time high, and the Nasdaq also hit a new all-time high. So I'm like wondering to myself, how many stocks on the New York Stock Exchange also hit a new high? And you know, it really didn't take me very long to count them all. There were only 29 of them.
Yeah, that's right.
So for someone like yourself who focuses specifically on TradFi, not just domestic TradFi, but globally, what is working?
Listen, breath is weak again here today. Like it's similar to yesterday already.
Yeah, breath is weak. It's not as strong as a couple of weeks ago. I think we're in an environment where you will find winners and losers. Basically, the tape it's a little bit sideways, very messy out there. In the past couple of weeks, I have been working and focus my attention on relative strengths. I'm trying to create some relative strength rankings just to find the best opportunities and try to find the strongest sectors, industry groups, and based on that, here you can see what I have been working. So these are the 11 sectors, the S&P 1500 sectors. So basically, we're taking large caps, mid caps, and small caps, basically combine it. And what it stands out from this table, from this list, is definitely technology. I think in this environment, I will try to keep it simple, and especially looking for these leaders at the end of the day.
What stands out right now?
When we compare the relative strength,
can we just look at number one across the board?
Sorry,
it's
just
not.
Look at number one.
It's not tech across the board though.
Right, because small caps. Well, small caps is coming back. I mean, they got slaughtered, so they're coming back.
Yeah. So when you look at technology, definitely large cap technology and mid cap technology stands out as a clear leader. Maybe not on a small cap basis, as you can see. Within the small caps, materials, industrials, and healthcare stands out the most. I think, JC, you have mentioned discretionary as a laggard, underperformer group, and we will see it right there with real estate. That's very impressive, I have to say. But I did this for the sectors, but now take a look at the industry groups relative strength rankings. Semiconductors are at the top of the list. For example, look at regional banks. I think they're making new all-time relative lows this week. And for me, this rankings and the relative strength, I'm looking for like persistence, relative strength. So technology. Sorry.
Well, explain how you're coming up with the ranks too. So it's a blended relative strength rank. Explain the time frames.
Yeah, I'm looking for like 3 time frames according to what we do here at LSR Charts. I'm taking the 1 month relative change, looking for that change in momentum and most recent winners. The 3 months and the 6 month relative change. So we're taking these changes, creating an average, and that's basically our ranking systems. So I think it's very accurate right now. Semiconductors, number 1. Aluminum has been a big group. Same for marine transportation. Electronic components within technology looking good too. Copper, even though it retraced 3 spots in the ranking, it has been right there. And for me, an interesting chart about this conversation is semiconductors versus technology.
Love it.
This is SMH relative to XLK.
What a chart.
With new all-time highs,
So good.
monster base. So that's what it stands out the most for me on a sector and industry group basis.
I love it. Great job, Fonz. So what we're doing here, just start with the first table, right? This is just top-down technical analysis, right? Really neat way to visualize it. But all Fonz is doing here is he's asking himself a question on each table. What sector do I want to be buying? Okay, next table. In that sector, is it the big ones, the medium-sized ones, or the small ones that I should be focused on? Okay, then what subsector in that group? Next table, right? So that we said technology. Okay, what kind of technology? Large cap technology. Okay, what kind of large cap technology? Semiconductors, great. And then you drill down, you look at the SMH components or the large cap semiconductor components, and you pick the best one, right? So that's the exercise here that you just walked us through.
Yeah, that's right.
Go back to the industry group table. How about this tobacco? So the rank change to me is really cool because that's showing the momentum of the relative strength there. Tobacco rallying 12 spots, moving up the leaderboard. Yet when I go through, I guess like Turning Point looks okay, but like Philip Morris and Altria still, I don't know. Anything interesting going on there?
Well, I remember that in our weekly meeting, I mentioned surprisingly some consumer defensive names in the top of our list. I think they're very near or making new 52-week highs. So I think that's the answer I'm getting to you about tobacco right now.
Yeah, this is a bit of a defensive theme.
Mm-hmm.
So we're seeing a little bit of that, I guess, with this weak breath, but not too much, right?
Yeah, not too much. If we can see here, for example, consumer staples jumped 2 spots this week. So that got my attention too. So we're monitoring if it's keep like escalating these ranks or just stay there. So this also helps us a lot to to identify the environment we're in, which groups are leading, if
That's right.
we're getting some defensive rotation, or if we're getting like more offensive rotation over there. So yeah, that's the plan.
Staples have been resilient, given some back recently. What date is this as of? Is this like as of yesterday?
No, Monday.
Right? Staples are going to fall back down a little bit, I think, making new relative lows here. I'm not seeing anything concerning from Staples relative, low volatility relative, utilities relative.
How about this guy here, guys? I got a good one for you.
JC
So,
charts.
yeah, I got a chart or two. In my arsenal. No, because we have Alfonso here, and Alfonso does a lot of work, obviously in the sector rotation stuff, but also Fonz is actively looking at the Hall of Famers and looking at the biggest companies, not just in the United States, but around the world, right? So here, this one is an interesting one. Why don't you throw it up, Spencer? The new slide 2 here. So this is an interesting one. Is the Dow Jones Transportation Average makes new 6-month lows this morning. You've got the S&P 500 and NASDAQ closing at new all-time highs yesterday. You have virtually no stocks at all making new highs, new 6 weeks lows in the New York Stock Exchange advanced decline line. Tranny's making new 6-month lows. So from a Dow theory standpoint, not to, be like that Dow theory bro, but, if the industrials were to break those lows from the spring, that would really confirm the weakness that we're seeing in the transportation, versus transportation confirming the strength we're seeing in the industrials, right?
Yeah, that's right. Of course, the ideal scenario for the bulls is to look at to see transportations confirm and make new highs. But yeah,
it's doing the opposite, Fonz. I'm no math major, but
Yeah, I don't know exactly. That's exactly what is happening right now. Of course, industrials as a general group, they will be like a good indication of we're going to see like a little bit more weakness if they're starting to break down and follow transports, or if they are able to hold their ranges and just trade sideways for a little bit more.
Yeah. The Dow Jones right now is at its year-to-date VWAP. So that's actually a big anchor date if you ask someone like Brian Shannon. So on all my charts, I have the year-to-date VWAPs in there. Dow's flirted with it a couple times this year, but it's really sitting right there. In the diamonds, it comes in right around 385. So I think it's a logical level for prices to rebound and this relative weakness to maybe stop over the short term. I'm tired of talking about the weakness from transportation stocks, though, JC. Like, this is not new information for us, right? We could have said this in March. We could have said this in April. We could have said it again in May.
But it's interesting.
Just for the record, the Dow Jones Industrial Average in 2007 peaked in October of 07. Trannies didn't peak till the summer of 08. So these divergences could persist for quite some time. Also, you know, for you folks that are maybe a little more old school, remember the remember the .com bubble. Transports peaked in 99. Here, I actually have the data here in front of me. Transports peaked in May of 99. So May of 99. 7 months later, the industrials peaked in January of 2000. NASDAQ ultimately peaked in March of 2000. So these history has shown that these divergences can persist for quite some time. Also, the look at in COVID. Before COVID, transports peaked in September of 18. The industrials did not peak until February of 20. So that divergence lasted for, a year and a half.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Here, throw this one up. I think the market has spoken. We always ask this question, right? So this is fun. Somebody had to do it. Semiconductors or transports? Which one's more important? Who do we listen to here? Because they're giving us very, very different pictures right now. They're telling very different stories. I think the market has told a story that you want one and not the other. Why are we even talking about transports anymore?
The reason we talk about transports is because when you go back and you study every single time that these two diverged, big problems came into the market. That's the reason. It's that simple.
Like airlines, like that's like airlines matter to the broader market. That's never
maybe this time is different. You know how that always goes.
Like FedEx, UPS, doesn't Amazon deliver things that matter
Maybe
now?
this time it's different. It hasn't been in the past. Maybe it is now. I guess we'll see.
Yeah, no, I'm with you.
I guess we'll see. Why don't you hit that bumper there, Spencer? Fun, stick around.
Yep.
I have a good question for Fonz.
Ooh.
I wasn't ready. You caught me off guard. I wasn't ready.
Hit it, Hemingway.
1 second. I wasn't ready.
I feel like your face is too close to the camera.
Definitely.
Sorry.
That's better for me.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right.
All right, Fonz. People from Spain don't like it when I say these things. But
Not from Spain.
what?
He's not from Spain.
I never said he was.
Okay. Here we go.
People from Spain don't like it when I say this, but people in Spain do not speak the prettiest Spanish. What country speaks the prettiest Spanish? Because remember, this is a romance language.
Polite. How could you ask him this question? He's too nice.
If you say Venezuela, it might be Venezuela. I mean, I would argue Colombia, but I want to know what you think.
I mean, yeah, a lot of people love the Colombian accent, especially from Medellin. People love that accent. If I will have to pick one, I will say Colombian. If not, Venezuela, of course.
Is it very different, the Venezuelan and the Colombian?
Yeah, there are some differences. Yes, of course. Every accent has every country has their differences. So
you would say Colombia 1, Venezuela
yeah,
2.
no, I will say Venezuela and then Colombia, and then
But are you just saying that because you're Venezuelan?
yeah, of course.
And then what about the Argentinians? Why don't you like it how they speak?
No. Yeah, I like it.
Why do you hate Argentinians so much, Fonz?
Oh.
Why do you hate Argentinians so much?
Me?
Yeah.
I don't hate Argentina. I love Argentina.
I
love it.
Stop. He's a troublemaker, Alfonso. You know what?
Cubans are the worst. And just to be fair, the Cubans are the worst for
They
the
are.
same reason that like Hawaiians and Jamaicans are the worst, right? Like islands just butcher languages, right? And Cubans are no different. So it's definitely not Cuba, right? Fonz?
Yeah, I don't know.
Cubans just like make S's disappear. Like Cubans are like the Staten Island of Spanish. You know how like
it's not good.
Staten Island, it's like their own like
That's not good.
So
nobody said it was.
So Medellin is like the Long Island of South America.
No. That's terrible.
It's the opposite, right? Thanks for being a good sport, Fonz. At least he didn't ask you about tacos.
Sorry.
I thought he was going to ask about tacos.
What'd you think of the tacos in Sonoma? Not bad, right?
Oh man, yeah, they were great, man. Great.
They don't have Mexicans in Venezuela, right? Or do they?
Not too many. No.
Bummer. It's good to have Mexicans around. I'm telling you.
Yeah, every time I go to the West Coast, it's like Mexican. I remember in San Diego with Patrick last year.
The chilaquiles, forgot about it.
Yeah, everything was like even the breakfast,
Yeah, Mexicans speak terrible Spanish, but they can cook.
Right. I think he's offended enough people by now, Spencer. We could probably.
I haven't offended anybody.
Wait, I'm reminded
of the Spaniards, but I believe that. I truly believe that the Spanish they talk with a lisp. That's not nice.
Steve, you ever seen the movie Little Big League?
Of course.
Okay, I'm not going to quote it now, but there's a scene at the end where he's talking about Venezuela, and he goes, "I play baseball down in Venezuela, and they speak Spanish, and that's a hard language." And the guy goes, "But they speak Spanish in Venezuela," and he goes, "I know, that's my point."
He kind of looks like Rosenbagger, doesn't he, Alfonso?
That's the other movie. That's the wrong one. That's Rookie of the Year.
Oh yeah, my bad.
What's the other big city in Colombia? I've had some friends who have been going over there and say it's awesome.
Bogota?
No.
Cartagena.
Cartagena. That's the one that's got the beaches and stuff.
Yeah.
People are going. I hear it's a good time.
But if you're a single guy, Medellin, there's talent.
Yeah.
All right. Two things real fast. The link to the video that Steve and JC did yesterday about the hot corner, they went in depth on their process. That link is at the top of the description and is also pinned at the top of our chat. It's free. Watch it. You'll learn something. I promise. That's the first thing. Second thing is preemptive. Happy Father's Day to all of our fathers out there on the show, in the chat, watching us on a replay, wherever you're watching. Happy Father's Day to all of you. Hope you enjoy your day.
I have a dad joke. Can I get a dad joke in? Ready? What do you call a sad strawberry? A blueberry.
You beat me by a second. I had it.
What do you call a fake noodle? An impasta.
Okay. All right. And we're done. Smash the like. Thanks for hanging out. Go make some money, all right?
Adios.
Good weekend.
Bye, guys.
How do I even end this thing?
That was fun.
I can't take no loss. I don't even know what it costs. I hit the ground, then I go